Welcome back, one and all, to yet another Transformers Prime review. Sorry about that. It's just after what happened last time. I'm a little paranoid that somebody with my face is going to come in here and take over the review from me or something. I don't really know what that person's goals exactly were. If it was just to do the review for me, I don't know why I'm complaining. That's less work for me. But still, that person was not supposed to be here, and I figure I'd better be on the safe side. Anyway, this week's episode of Transformers Prime is one that I almost didn't review, but after rewatching it, I do like it for a couple of key reasons, so I still want to talk about it, despite the fact that it's a clip show. And I know what a lot of you are thinking, AJ, how could you like a clip show? Clip shows are bad, generally speaking. But the fact of the matter is, I kind of love them. I kind of love them for the same reason that I love bottle episodes. For those who don't know, a bottle episode is an episode of a TV show where only simple sets are used, usually only 1 or 2 sets total. There are no guests. The plot is simple and it tends to focus on the characters all interacting in that 1 or 2 settings in order to save money for bigger budget things down the line. You can think of a clip show as like the leveled up version of that. It's the even cheaper version of that because rather than filling the entire runtime with a new story, it creates a framing device, which in and of itself is a little microcosm of a bottle show, in which to use clips to illustrate characters' flashbacks of earlier events. And obviously, the cheapness of this, reiterating things exactly as we've seen them already, has earned clip shows a bad rap. And there are certainly very bad clip shows. An early episode of Star Trek The Next Generation comes to mind, which we will probably talk about at some point on this channel. It's that bad. But there are good clip shows as well. In fact, one of the reasons why I still love Friends as much as I do, despite that it hasn't aged well in a lot of different areas, is that it has really good clip shows in it. Like, I know there are some people who argue this point, but I will defend the clip shows in Friends to my dying breath. I think they're really good, hyper-focusing on some of the funniest moments of the show, all of which are appropriate to the story being told by the framing device, and they even have cool musical cues inserted in them sometimes. And like the best clip shows, they advance the plot as much as Friends actually has a plot. And as far as clip shows go, this is certainly a good one. It focuses on Fowler giving a report to one of his superiors, a general, who is voicing the interests of some of the other higher-ups overseeing this program where the military is working with the Transformers, who feel that more should be disclosed about that project. They're also finding it hard to believe that Optimus Prime might still be alive when they have what seems to be his corpse in storage. Which means that despite the fact that Nemesis Prime as a character, if you could even call him that, only really existed in that one episode, at least his existence overall has left something of an impact, at least for this one additional episode. And because it focuses on Fowler, we get a chance to see all over again that Fowler's actually a pretty damn good human character for a Transformers human. He's kind of dorky and doesn't always think quick enough when he's put on the spot, but he's still clever and charismatic, and while every single joke in this episode doesn't land, he's still pretty funny too. And this episode does lean more towards comedy, showing more funny clips than serious ones. And even has a, at least in theory, like I didn't laugh at it, but I could see why other people might, stinger, like commercial stinger, halfway through the episode, that the voice actors involved in this episode played pretty well. I wouldn't say it's among the best clip show episodes that I've ever watched, but it's certainly not a bad one, and because I enjoy these kinds of things. I enjoy the methods by which writers on television shows save their budget and still provide us with an entertaining installment of whatever it is that they're making. I enjoyed this. More so probably than the average person honestly would. But it's still an episode that I would recommend, especially if you enjoy this kind of thing like I do. Though there is another reason why I wanted to talk about this episode, despite it not really needing to be talked about, and that's that this is yet another episode of Transformers Prime that is just a simplified and kind of watered down version of an episode of Stargate SG-1. Specifically Season 6, Episode 17, I think, Disclosure, in which a character who we don't follow all that often gives a presentation which discloses previously undisclosed information about a secret military project, which involves working with and interacting directly with aliens. A presentation which goes pretty badly until the main alien ally to our human heroes shows up impressively to say his piece. And granted, I did say that this is a simplified version of that episode. It has far fewer characters. The exact plot is different. That Stargate episode, for example, had them disclosing all of this information to other world leaders, making the Stargate program somewhat public compared to what it was before. And there was a lot of political maneuvering in there. These really talky, bottle episode-y kind of episodes of Stargate always had a lot of political maneuverings in them. But they are both clip shows with essentially the same bare-bones plot. Though, to be fair, I consider Disclosure to be probably my favorite clip show episode of anything ever, as it doesn't just do what I think all good clip shows should and somehow advance the plot. It ushers in a new era for the show in which it is a part. I really need to start more thoroughly scripting parts of these reviews where I'm likely to stumble over my words like that. And obviously I have problems with Prime as a show. I think that's been made clear from a lot of my reviews. Going back and rewatching it has only kind of amplified some of those. And I'm going to have more problems with it relatively soon, now that I know some of the background stuff, the behind-the-scenes stuff that was going on with one of the episodes that I recently covered. But despite all that, I still like Prime as a series. I still think it's probably the best Transformers cartoon yet. And so it is cool seeing this show pay homage to another show that I really love. Like, I don't know for sure that the showrunners on Prime, or that some of the writers on Prime or whatever, were fans of Stargate SG-1, but I really think they were, because this keeps happening. That said, though, there's not really more to say about this episode. If you're not a fan of clip shows, and you are watching these episodes along with me and haven't watched this one yet, as of watching the review of it, you can skip it. You're not really gonna miss anything. Like, as far as I remember, this episode doesn't significantly affect anything down the line. I could be wrong. The show may prove me wrong. But if it's going to, I don't recall anything that would lead me to believe that it will. Like, even if we do see evidence of greater human involvement in the Transformers stuff down the line, which could have resulted from this, we already knew that humans in the government and in the military know about the Transformers, so it's not like we couldn't have just extrapolated that they became more interested after the whole Nemesis Prime thing. As per usual, though, guys, I'd like to know, what do you think of this episode of Transformers Prime? I don't think I even gave the title of it yet. It's Grill, even though Fowler wasn't really grilled at any point in the episode, but fine, whatever. What do you think of Grill if you have seen it? Let's get a discussion going in the comments section down below, or over on my Discord, link in the description. But either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.